Ohio. We're high on Ohio. These stories inform and inspire through the words of people who make Ohio home. Good news and good ideas, identifying and acknowledging the excellence that is all around us. This is Gene Krebs. I'm here today on behalf of the Center for Community Solutions, and we're high on Ohio. We're going around this great state and interviewing thought leaders and people who know how to make things happen here. And today I'm joined by Jeff Siegler, who is the Director of Revitalization for Heritage Ohio. So welcome, Jeff. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
And so how did you get to be in this position? One of the things that when you talk to the youth, they're just kind of baffled as to how did anybody get to be in a career position, or you get to have this much influence. So how did you get to be in this spot?
Bit of a long tale, but I'll try to make it brief. I grew up in Lima, Ohio, and then went to school at Ohio Wesleyan, and after graduating traveled quite a bit. And it was through traveling that I sort of realized that something, actually I lived in Livingston, Montana, and then later Brooklyn, New York, and both communities had something that Lima didn't have, which is sort of a dense urban area. And I know it seems funny to say, this little town of Livingston had that, but it had a downtown, a community center, where the whole community sort of came together and knew one another, and there was that certain sense of community, that intangible sense that came with that. And Brooklyn had the same. While it was obviously very different in every characteristic, there was still sort of that density, that common gathering place, so everybody knew one another, and that sense of community was palpable. And I realized that from where I grew up in Lima, not having that healthy downtown where people mingled, we didn't have that same sort of sense of community. So it dawned on me as being something very important.
It has become basically your life's work so far to date.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So so once I got interested in that, I kind of, this concept of fostering community was really built on healthy downtown. I went to school at Virginia Commonwealth University for city and regional planning.
Now, you are, in effect, one of the leading edge of the brain wave. Okay, in Ohio, we're very worried about brain drain. There's also some brain drain. You actually qualify for what we call the boomerangs. You leave and then you come back. So you've come back to make Ohio a better place, but also then to grow this sense of community. It basically city by city, neighborhood by neighborhood, community by community. Then.
Yes, I loved Ohio, and it was a good opportunity to travel outside of the state and become familiar with other places. But it still was a state that I got to the age of having a family that I wanted to come back to. I think that there's some great cities. There's great smaller towns as well, and a lot of places with that sort of sense of community. So I felt a lot of opportunity as well. So a good place to be, and it's been a great experience working with some of those communities. I mean, just like the one I grew up in, that. Because the downtown was unhealthy for a period, the whole community sort of suffered. So it's been really rewarding to try to work with communities in that facet.
So in your opinion, one of the keys for Ohio to reverse the brain drain is to have a more attractive communities, more attractive downtowns. That's how you get a more vibrancy in Ohio with the youth then.
Absolutely. We're not going to be able to ever bring an ocean to our doorstep, or some of those other things that maybe attract people to the coast. But one of the the places where people move are dense urban areas, walkable areas with historic buildings, with all those amenities, with social opportunities, with great parks.
Yeah.
And that's something we have a ton of control over. So I think that creating those downtowns is what's going to attract people.
Increasing Ohio's walk score. And for those citizens out there who have never seen a walk score, you just simply go on the walk score website, and it will type in your address, and it will tell you what the walkability of your community is. And in case you're wondering, my farm scores a score of a perfect 0. There's nothing walkable near my farm at all, which makes perfect sense.
Well, you won't have a bunch of millennials moving to your farm.
That's true. That is true. That is true.